Hey guys, Kyle Mazer here. Here's a quick little tutorial on how I created that HDR image. What you need before you start is you need to have more than one exposure of the same image. So in my case, I actually took 5 different exposures of the same image. You can do that inside of Aperture or inside of Lightroom. Just create your different exposures and then export them. So after you export them, you open up Photoshop, go to File, and then Automate, and then merge to HDR. If your files are open, you're going to go to where it says Add Open Files. In my case, they're not open, so I'm going to click Browse. And let's see, where did I save them? I think they're in here. There they are. So, like I said, I took 5 different photos. Okay, I exported them all as TIFFs. And then I'll hit OK. And what Photoshop is now going to do is it's going to take all 5 of those and merge them with masking and a whole bunch of other different things. It crops it, it aligns them, and this takes just a few minutes. Again, it depends on your computer, depends on how many images there are. Using TIFFs is going to take longer than JPEGs, but I was too lazy to re-export them as JPEGs. So we'll just wait while Photoshop does its thing. I was going to turn some music on for you guys, but my computer didn't like that, so just going to let it do its thing. You can watch your histories palette and you can see what it's actually doing to all these files. Okay, so here is the image. Okay, this is actually a 32-bit image. On the left over here, you'll see the different exposures that I used to get this far. The next thing you want to do is you want to come over here where it says Set White Point View. Okay, drag your slider. In most cases, you're going to have to drag it to the right, and what that's going to do is it's going to make the image darker. If you look at the sky is all blown out. So by dragging it to the right, it brings back the detail inside of the sky. Once you have your highlights brought back, just push the OK button, and now it's actually going to create the 32-bit file for you, which again takes a little while. Okay, and I'll fit this to the screen a little bit better so you can see what's going on. Okay, so here what we have now is a 32-bit image, okay, based on those 5 images. So the first thing that you have to do is convert this to at least a 16-bit image. So if you look at, like if I go to my layer adjustments, you'll see that I can't do a lot of my adjustments. So I go to Image, Mode, and then change this to a 16-bit image. At this point, you have another chance to bring back any highlights. So the sky looks okay for me right now, so I'm just going to hit OK. If it didn't, just drag that exposure to the left and it'll bring it back. So now we're back in 16 bits. Okay. The first thing you're going to have to do is address your layers, your levels rather, I'm sorry. Okay, so I go New and then New Adjustment Layer and bring up my levels. So you'll see that my blacks are way off. Okay, that's why the image looks so flat. By dragging this black slider, you'll see how much it brings back, and now the image starts to pop a little bit. Okay, so I hit the OK button. The next thing I do is I generally go in, do a new adjustment layer, and brightness and contrast, and I bump up the contrast a bunch. Somewhere around there is about what I did, I think. Okay. Now, when you're doing infrared, what infrared does with your colors is, if you look at the sky kind of has a red tint, and so does the water here. I'm sorry. You can bring that back, and the way you do that, I didn't do it for this image because I didn't like the way it looked. But to bring it back, you're going to go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and this time you're going to go to Channel Mixer. So what we're going to do is we're going to invert our reds and blues. So your output channel is set to red right now, which means that if you look at your source channels, that means your red is at 100%. In this case, we're going to turn red to 0 and come down to blue and make that 100%. Then we go to our output channel and we make it blue. And we want our red at this point to be 100% and our blue to be at 0. Then hit OK. So now you can see that the blues are now blue, and the lake thing here is kind of blue, but it was kind of green to begin with. So like I said, I didn't like the way this looks, so I just unchecked the eyeball, and there's my infrared shot. Okay, so after that, my last step is I do sharpening. The way I do my sharpening inside of Photoshop is I do a high-pass filter sharpen, and here's how you do that. First, you want to be on a layer that's visible, okay? And then my favorite command in Photoshop: Shift, Option, Command if you're on a Mac, Control if you're on a PC, I think. E. So it's Shift, Command, Option, E. And what that does is it creates a layer based on all of your visible layers, okay? So what you're going to do now is you're going to actually take this and make this layer gray. And here's how you do it. You go up to Filter, Other, and then High Pass. If you guys remember Greg's video where he showed you that sharpening thing, and you had that view so you can actually see what your sharpening is doing, this is very similar. This is that same view. So you can see it changes my image to gray, and if I bring this out, you'll see what the sharpening is actually gonna do. In general, what I found is that you want your radius to be somewhere in between 3 and 7-ish. Again, it depends on your image, but usually no more than that. So when you find something that you like, you hit OK. And now you have a beautiful gray image. To get rid of the gray image, make sure that this layer is still selected, that gray one. And you're going to go to where it says Normal and change it to, say, Overlay. Okay? And this might be a little bit hard to see on the compressed image, but I'll take off the sharpening and I'll turn on the sharpening. And it's a big difference for me, and I hope you guys can see the difference. So that's really it. Any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Talk to you guys later. See ya.